Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Lakeside Conversations. Obviously, as you can see, this one is virtual, but I still got Lake Eola behind me. Still want to honor the Lakeside tradition. Of course, I'm Mellissa Thomas with my co-host, Miss Kathleen Michelle. Kathleen, how's it going?
Doing great. Thank you so much. I'm glad we're able to connect, even though we're a little bit of a distance apart.
Absolutely. Thanks for being available. And I mean, guys, I'm sure you guys are dealing with it. It is the holiday season. It is officially underway. That was actually the reason why you didn't get an episode last week. We were celebrating Thanksgiving because we are a Thursday show. Typically, we stream live, but we wanted to make sure to give you guys the holiday if you observe it. And of course, as of this week, Hanukkah has begun. So for those who celebrate that holiday, and, this is what we want to focus on for today's conversation. We want to talk about the holiday season and kind of the other side of it. You know what I mean? A lot of people, there's a bit of excitement that encompasses the holiday season, and folks don't necessarily think about or ponder that other side. Folks who may have a difficult time during the holidays. Perhaps they may have had a loved one that passed away during the winter months. So holidays, which is a time for family gatherings and things like that, that becomes very tough for them because they have to, remember, the anniversary of their loss. Sometimes it's a financial issue. Let's be real. Holidays in these United States are kind of capitalistic. You know what I mean? So there's that, with the economy where it is right now, it might be a bit of a struggle for folks to, spend the usual bread that they use for holiday gifts or even decorating their place for the holidays. As you guys can see, Kathleen has a beautiful tree behind her. I love that with the Vanna White. But let's start on that note, Kathleen. Kind of give us your perspective in terms of that, that kind of financial side of things, prepping, the home for the holidays, spending that kind of money and that kind of struggle that people can kind of be dealing with around the holiday season.
Well, Melissa, that's why they make credit cards. I'm just kidding.
That's controversial.
I'm just teasing you. I know that those financial gurus would love for me to say that, but in reality, it's not always about the tree and the decorations and the gifts. It's really not. It's I remember one year we didn't get a tree, and I don't remember if it was financial or what it was, but we ended up just doing construction paper and decorating a tree and taping it to a wall. And
Wow.
So I think that really when it comes to holidays, it's about the heart. It's not about all the things that go around it. It's about where you're at in your heart. And you touched on something that I believe more people this year than a lot of years are going to be struggling with, which will be their first year without a loved one, especially with people who have passed away recently with COVID or different types of ailments. I know several people who will be without their family for the first time this year, which I think hits home along with the financial aspect, but also just the whole situation of not having somebody. And I can imagine that thought of usually having that person there, and then for the first year, wow, this person won't be here to celebrate. And I know that I have some friends who had that happen through Thanksgiving, their first Thanksgiving without someone that they really care and love for. And so that's going to be a very difficult place for a lot of people this year, along with the financial situation where people are just getting back into their work. Some people have been laid off. And so really, it puts things into perspective of what's important, which is really the people, not just what the financial things are of giving,
Exactly.
have with you, and holding those close to us that we do have.
Absolutely. And you're definitely right in terms of the toll that COVID-19 has had on everyone. And now we're back in the flu season, and this flu season is a little different than last flu season because now they're talking about the importance of getting flu shots this year versus last year, and that sort of kind of that weird line that folks have to walk between worrying about staying healthy against COVID-19 versus combating the flu. So I mean, there are folks that have lost loved ones. This is the anniversary of a death. I'll be fully transparent with you guys. I'm celebrating the anniversary of the loss of my grandmother. She died December of last year. Fortunately, it wasn't due to COVID-19, but this is, obviously this wasn't a situation where I would see her every year. She's back home in Jamaica, but still, you always, folks that you're close and attached to, as you just mentioned, it's when they're no longer in your life, you have to get used to that absence, and it's pretty palpable when their absence isn't felt.
Right.
So, and by the way, Kathleen was joking about the credit card thing. Don't do that. The companies would love for you to buy one of those, like get one of those and like start spending like crazy. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. Don't listen to me when it comes to the financial guru advice, because I'm probably not going to give you the right advice on that one. But more for me, I think what I like to focus on is just what people can do who maybe have lost a loved one and have the memory and still enjoy with those who are around and alive, because sometimes we can lose focus on what we do have by focusing on what we don't have. And I know I've been guilty of that. We want whatever we had to still be there, and it's not. And when you focus on the losses and what you don't have versus what you do have, it can really bring people into a state of depression, and it can really bring the family down, so to speak. So I believe for me, when I went through loss, there's a series of events of mourning that people go through, and a lot of people avoid the mourning process, but it's really important to go through that process.
Yes.
And part of the process is accepting, and it's hard to accept something like a loss, especially when holidays are coming, because it can be very lonely. But recreating those memories or bringing in good things to realize, hey, I'm living the legacy of my mom, my dad, my whoever, and trying to build good memories can be very helpful and healing as well. So I believe, there's a whole cycle of loss and mourning that we all go through when we have, and everyone's timeline is different, but I can definitely see during the Christmas and the holidays where people are thinking, this is my first year without this person. What am I going to do? It feels so empty. And so some of the tips that I would have is, like I said, start creating new memories in memory of that person. Look back at the good times and the good things. One of the things I do when I start feeling down personally about anything is start to be thankful. Start saying, thank you. I'm so thankful for this, because in thankfulness, it helps bring you to a higher level. And then focusing on other people. When you go through a hard time, taking the focus off of yourself and putting it on others is a very beneficial thing to do, helping to serve the homeless, the needy, people maybe who are going through a hard time. Similar can also bring healing into your life. So thankfulness, giving back, thinking of others, those are great ways to help you to respond during the season. And there's lots of opportunities to do those things as well. And getting out of the box, getting out of your home. A lot of people get stuck at home. They don't want to go anywhere, maybe fears or whatnot, but just having faith over fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And sometimes people are so afraid that they end up staying home and not living their lives. But, walking in faith and just believing that today's a new day and embracing that and trying something new, getting out of the cycle can also help with any kind of potential depression. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. These are things that I've learned that have helped me. And if you do need help during this season, it's okay to go to a doctor. It's okay to go to, get counseling. Those are great ideas as well to help with, having conversations are good instead of hiding away and not discussing your emotions and feelings. Those are important too, to discuss how you feel.
Well said. And on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. We're going to come back with a few more solutions. You know what I mean? Like, the holiday season is here. We want to make sure if you're struggling, or if this is a season where you're more like Ebenezer Scrooge because you're really ain't feeling all the jolly, we want to make sure you come away with some solutions that you can stay sane and even come away enjoying the holiday season. So we will be right back after this brief break.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
And we are back, guys, with the Lakeside Conversations. Of course, myself, Mellissa Thomas, here with Kathleen Michelle. So, just want to kind of piggyback on some of the stuff you were saying, Kathleen. Gratefulness is definitely something that is invaluable for anyone who is struggling with depression, anyone who is struggling with grief, things like that. That is one of those kind of, I won't say universal, but a very versatile solution when you want to break a mental cycle, a certain mindset. You guys have likely heard about gratitude journals. Those do work. Like journaling, there is a certain power to journaling. So if you're someone who's never tried it, maybe you're like, man, nobody got time for that. Like I don't want to have to sit down and write. The truth is there really is power to writing something down, making thoughts tangible, which is essentially what writing is. You're making your thoughts physical. And the power behind journaling or, writing things out is that you actually bring your thoughts into their proper perspective or size. Because when they're in your head and you're constantly rolling them around in your head, they tend to grow. Thoughts gain strength the more you think about them. And just from a scientific perspective, from the physical perspective where we talk about working out and building muscle, essentially when you're building muscle, you're literally tearing the muscle. And then as it heals back up, it heals back bigger the more you work it. The brain works the same way with thoughts. We develop neural pathways the more frequently we think about something, which is why things tend to get bigger the more we think about them. So if loss or grief is something that you struggle with, I personally recommend journaling because it will get all of your thoughts out of your head and onto the page and allow your mind to breathe a little bit more, because now you have room to think on other things. You'll have the room to start focusing on what you're grateful for. Even if you can't stop thinking about that person that you lost, writing your thoughts down on the page allows you the breathing room to start writing the positive things that you appreciate about them. Perhaps kind of get your mind off of necessarily how you're feeling, and I can attest to this because I struggled with depression for 2 years between 2017 and 2019. When you get your mind off of yourself, it works wonders. It breaks the downward spiral, because it does begin a downward spiral. The more you think of how,
it's easy to get into depression. It's really easy. I had it when I was younger. It's easy to get in and it's really hard to get out. So before you go down that road, count the costs. Sometimes it feels good to just kind of let yourself go, but then it's very hard to get out. So preventing it from happening are some of the things you're discussing that will help to keep you off of that depressive cycle.
Absolutely. And another thing that I recommend is, communities, whether online or in person. If you're somebody that's like, maybe you're kind of tired of the online stuff, maybe social media is not your cup of tea. I totally understand. Social media can be a little bit weird sometimes, but there is a physical version of that. Just go to a resource called meetup.com. Like, there are meetups happening locally wherever you are. And for whatever interest you might be looking for, maybe it's an interest that you hadn't paid attention to because it's a difficult time. And usually when you're in your feelings, if you will, when you're in that emotional space, you tend to tell yourself, well, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. But there is power in breaking your habits and choosing to be around like-minded people who share an interest in something that normally would give you life. Maybe you're someone who, like Kathleen, loves dancing. There are plenty of groups out there for that. You know what I mean? If you're someone like me and you love writing, there are plenty of meetup groups that focus on that. If you're someone who doesn't mind being online, you don't mind the online communities, if that's enough to bring you a bit more peace and satisfaction, then there are plenty of Facebook groups. There are plenty of other online communities that you can be a part of as well. Just a lot of this comes down to taking time to make that extra step, to be willing to do the research to find those groups, or to do that research on Facebook to find that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
hey, don't be afraid to pick up the phone either. You know what I mean? It's Folks won't necessarily know that you need help or that you're feeling those feelings of loneliness unless you express that. Like, a lot of us are busy. You know what I mean? It's not even when you're in that depressive space, you might tell yourself the story that maybe you might feel unseen. You know what I mean? Especially in the busyness of it all. Everybody's
Right.
buying their gifts and whatever. So sometimes you have to reach out and say, hey, when's a good time to, can I talk to you for a little bit or whatever? Text them, be like, when's a good time to call you? That kind of thing. Once folks know that, you want to carve out some time to talk to them, they're open to it.
That's true. And you mentioned groups. There's always different types of churches and church groups you can join and get involved with. And, when you're alone or you're feeling alone, you feel like nobody understands, or like you said, no one cares. But the truth is, people understand and they do care. And maybe not everyone's been through loneliness or depression, but it doesn't mean they don't have compassion or empathy to be there for you. But there are a lot of people who have understood and do know what you're going through in a different way, as far as maybe a different loss, or maybe your, isolation is one of the worst things someone can do when they're lonely or depressed.
Yes.
And being isolated will further endanger yourself as far as mentally, emotionally. We are meant to be around people. So if you've been feeling down low about yourself, nobody likes me, nobody cares, those kind of things, those are not true things. People do care, they do like you, they love you, and just be the one to reach out yourself to somebody. Don't just wait for someone to come and get you. Go to church, make that step and see what happens, and you'll get the healing you need. And we were talking about whether it's because of a loss. If it is, start new traditions, meet new people, and there's healing. There's going to be healing in your life. So I just want to encourage whoever that is, maybe someone listening who needs this today, because I know the suicide rate during holidays is very high.
Yes.
For different ages, and that's not the answer. The way out, that is not the way out, because it's not a solution. It's a short-term feeling, and I want to encourage whoever's listening that it's just a season and it will pass. You will get stronger. You will overcome. You will make it. So don't allow the season of the holidays to further bring you down. Try to change that perspective every day. Try to, instead of being upset that you have to get up or that you're alone, wow, I can breathe. I'm so thankful. Thank you for food. And like we talked about, in that, you'll start having more productivity and getting out and enjoying life. Regardless of your circumstances, you can still enjoy life, regardless of what your losses are. I've been through a lot of losses in my life, unfortunately. What I've learned is I can't focus on what's going on as far as the pain constantly. I got to go through the process, but I also have to focus on what I do have so I don't fall down that ditch. And so whoever I'm talking to right now, focus on what you do have so that you will overcome this. And it is a season, and this is the Christmas season right now. But sometimes things can change in your life in a moment where you think you all hope is lost. There's always that little chance that things can change in just a blink of an eye, regardless of what you're going through. And there's a purpose in all of it. We don't understand why certain people die in our lives or we go through things, but I know that all those things can be used to help other people. So if you've been through that, you can actually use your story to help other people as well.
Very true. Very true. On that note, we're going to take one final commercial break, guys, and we're going to come back and wrap things up for you. So Stay tuned. This one's gonna be a quick one. This is one of those like wet your tongue really quick kind of commercial breaks. We're gonna keep it super brief. We'll be right back.
Catch a wave of excitement with the new Guy Harvey $500,000 Florida Cash Scratch-Off, featuring tons of cash and one-of-a-kind promotional prizes. Get yours today. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it.
Here we are. We are back.
That
Yep.
was quick.
Wet your tongue kind of break.
There you
But
go.
But yeah, we do want to just kind of wrap things up, just to recap, the resources that are available to you if you're someone that's looking for in-person gatherings, just to kind of circumvent that feeling of being alone or being lonely. Use meetup.com. Just kind of do a web search for that. You'll find groups in your area. Of course, if you're somebody that likes community events, if you're, that's an option as well. There are plenty of events going on over the holidays, whether that's to Kathleen's earlier point about feeding events in terms of serving with the homeless or things like that. So you have websites like Eventbrite that can help you with that if you're doing a search for that. The different nonprofit organizations in your area, just kind of do a search for those. They're always looking for volunteers. Obviously, Salvation Army, they're looking for folks. They're always looking for folks. And if there are any food distribution, companies in your area, we're here in Orlando. So Second Harvest, they've always got stuff going on. The Orlando Union Rescue Mission, they always have opportunities to serve the homeless in terms of meals for the men's side or the women's side, the women and family side. So plenty of resources out there. As I mentioned, the gratitude journals, take a look at Amazon for those. There are hundreds of thousands of them on there. If you're, in the faith community, there are, devotionals and themed journals, biblical themed journals for things like that. There are, books that have biblical promises. If you're someone who is big into the word and big into scripture, hop on Amazon, take a look at those. And quite frankly, if you need to hit us up at Florida National News, Kathleen and I, we love to support you guys. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on our conversation today. If you need a little bit more help, like beyond our conversation here, let us know in the comments below. We'll be glad to point you in the right direction. But, Kathleen, do you have any parting words?
Just know that there's somebody who loves you, and you're never alone. And sometimes it can feel that way. But I've been through too much to know that seasons come and go and they change. And so hold tight and enjoy every day. Enjoy whether it's the Christmas season or the summer season, and keep perspective what it's all about. It doesn't matter about the money. In my opinion, it matters the heart behind it. Mm-hmm. There's definitely gifts you can do and give to other people that would touch their heart and their lives, even encouraging words. And that's another thing. Encourage others and you will be encouraged. If you want to be loved, give love. If you want to be having friends, you have to be friendly. If you want kindness, give it. So there's a principle, reaping what you sow, and it's pretty universal. So give what you want and you will receive what you give. So that would be what I would encourage you with today, and just enjoy. There's lots of fun things to do, parades, and a lot of festivities going on in the area. But get out, enjoy the sun, enjoy the air, and have a great Christmas, have a great holiday. Just being thankful for what you have.
Absolutely. And on that note, guys, we're going to wrap up our conversation for today. But if in case you haven't yet, be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You can find all our social information below. We're at Florida National News pretty much everywhere. We wanted to make sure that we were easy enough to find. So subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to click the little bell icon so you can get all the notifications. You will never miss a single live stream. You'll never miss a news update or interview or a single episode of our show here. But in the meantime, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm Mellissa Thomas. That is Kathleen. It is always our pleasure to join you guys, and have a great rest of your Thursday, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Have a great day.